Welcome to another episode of Hidden Variables, everyone, the podcast where we explore interesting people from all walks of life, their fascinating stories, and how they're making a positive impact on our world. Today, I'm so honored to welcome a truly extraordinary guest, my good friend, personal shaman, and cosmic soul brother, Drew Bankey. Drew is a combat veteran turned ceremonial leader, healer, and consciousness explorer. He's the co-founder, along with his beautiful wife, Ella, of Sacred Journeys Within, a federally recognized psychedelic church and a powerful voice in the world of spiritual transformation. As a suicide survivor with an inspiring story of rebirth, Drew has guided hundreds through profound healing with sacred plant medicines like Ayahuasca, Peyote, Psilocybin, Pedro Cactus, and 5-MeO-DMTs. He is the author of 2 really profound books, I'm Perfect and So Are You, and Find Your Inner Guru. And you may have seen him and his family on Homestead Rescue on the Discovery Channel. Drew has walked the sacred path of the Lakota Sundance, experienced contact with Bigfoot and shadow beings, and teaches telekinesis as part of the mind matter consciousness work. Drew will be presenting at the prestigious Contact Modalities Expo in beautiful Delavan, Wisconsin this May 2nd through 4th, along with me and a vast gathering of some of the most respected and renowned experts in the field of contact and consciousness. He will also be facilitating a very sacred hape ceremony on site with the attendees, those at least wishing to participate. His journey bridges ceremony, contact, and consciousness in ways that invite us all to awaken to the deeper truths within ourselves. Let's dive in, shall we? Welcome to my friend and cosmic brother, Drew Bankey. Drew, welcome.
Hey, Debs. Thanks for having me. Hey, Debs. Thanks for having me again.
I am so happy to see you, Drew. As you know, I don't know, we just seem to have this symbiotic relationship that doesn't ever seem to go away no matter how long we go between our conversations with each other. So there's so much we could talk about with you, but before we get into the really heady topics like perhaps psychedelics and the evolution of man, I think maybe it might be helpful to the audience who hasn't been exposed to yet to find out just how this all came about. How did this start? Give us a little synopsis of this.
It's my journey's same story as a lot of people. You know, it starts off with a trauma that pushes us to go find ourselves. And for me, it was 2016 where I first drank ayahuasca. I first drank ayahuasca trying to find some relief from PTSD. I had suicide attempts, suicidal ideation, heavy depression, very, very severe PTSD, like across the board, all of them, symptoms, and went to ayahuasca just looking for some, long story short, looking for some relief, and kind of stumbled upon the spirit world and stumbled upon my mission. I had the first ceremony was very rough. The second ceremony was a full-on breakthrough, and the third ceremony, which was all within a few weeks of each other, these 3 ceremonies. That third ceremony, I went into it, and when I drank the medicine, as I was drinking it, I was asking the universe why I was here, here breathing, and I was shown in no uncertain terms, and it's been full throttle ever since.
Wow.
And one thing led to another. The ayahuasca definitely opened up dreams and stuff like that. Definitely started getting messages and downloads during the awake time, but it seemed like my dream time, that's when I started to process my dreams, and that's when I got called to had dreams of Standing Rock. So around 2000, late 2016, early 2017, when Standing Rock was going on, and that's 2016 was the same year I drank ayahuasca. So the spirits or universe, whatever you want to call it, the energies were definitely communicating through my dreams and called me to put together a donation drive for Standing Rock, which eventually turned into a convoy of multiple people after the local news in Florida where we were living at the time, me and Ella, and the local news got a hold of it and come and interviewed, and it went from me and Ella taking a load of just one couple totes full of goods up there and donating like hand warmers, things like that. It turned into this convoy of about I think it was like 4 vehicles we had all at once. Once it was all said and done, convoying up there. We was only supposed to be there for just a few days, and it turned into a 2-month residency of myself, and it was every day a ceremony. You woke up to songs being sung every morning with the sunrise, and they would sing them over loudspeakers. And the camp grew that I lived on Ocheti Shikoi grew to 22,000 people was there at one point. And so it was a city. We had a hospital, we had a herbal hospital, we had everything there. That was we had multiple chow halls where people would go and eat, and that's where I got invited to Sundance, from Beatrice Quinoa Jackson, Soaring Eagle Woman. I met her there and we had conversations, and she invited me to Sundance, and then eventually adopted me spiritually adopted me and named me Blue Thunder Man. And I danced with her in the arbor, so she's a sun dancer as well. And she's in her 60s, approaching 70s now, and still dances every year. So
wow,
really dedicated to that ceremony and everything. And just an amazing woman. So I can't say enough about her. But just one thing led to another, and here I am. And,
wow.
I got emails into Joe Rogan, and I just hired a booking agent a few weeks ago, and just a lot of amazing things happening. So
The snowball is really moving fast downhill now for you. I remember when a lot of these things were not, no pun intended, but pipe dreams for you, right? And you have worked so hard. People don't realize just how hard you work. Doing this, trying to promote yourself and promote consciousness and the awareness of the awakening that's happening. But
it's
go ahead.
It's a hell of a balance. You're trying to build a brand, and you're trying to basically create a position for yourself in this global movement. And it's all the while trying to keep a sense of humbleness about it and trying to keep that in check as well. So it's interesting. It's interesting position to be in, and it's interesting task to do. And there's no blueprint on it when I started. I just knew that the spirits told me what I was supposed to do, and so I closed my eyes and dove off into it, and knew that eventually, everything would line up. There's been hundreds of emails. There's been, now it's a lot of inbound people reaching out for me for interviews. But in the beginning, for the first couple of years, it was 100 interviews and maybe one person respond. And there's, my name wasn't out there. So, but it's this last interview with Digital Social Hour with Sean Kelly, he's put me on the map a little more. I got 3 viral videos out of that, 3 viral clips from that interview so far.
I think I shared one today. Actually, it was so good.
Yeah, it's humbling. It's I just did a podcast interview yesterday, and this whole process, the magnitude of it, and when I really fully comprehend and of what I'm here to do, it's humbling in itself. It takes care of its, it takes care of itself. If it doesn't, if it didn't, I think it's up the design of it.
Yes,
it's built into it.
Woven into it. It really is.
That it just humbles you as the process goes on.
It's amazing. And what many people don't know about you, but they will as awareness about your work and your life come more into the spotlight, as it's going to, is that alongside all of this incredible work that you're doing, you and Ella decided to homestead out in the middle of nowhere in some of the roughest terrain in our country, with just pretty much next to nothing but, what I want to say, upcycled stuff from nothing. And you are now starting to really be successful with that. You have 2 new little kids, Hawk and Ember, and your family keeps growing, goats, donkeys, waterfowl or fowl, and it just keeps going on and on and on. And I'm like, okay, I can remember back in those days when I was your age, and homesteading, it was an 80-hour-a-week job, especially with 2 kids. So the mere fact that you're doing that and it's really starting to ramp up for you and be a success for you and your family. And then on top of that, to do what you're doing in the outer world with this other work, you have to be really supported spiritually, is all I can say. And now that's crystallizing into physical human support, which I can see growing every day. So
I feel it. Taking Hawk and the kids always like to go get eggs. So we get eggs two times in the morning, and then in the afternoon we get eggs twice a day. I check them, and we got like a little door that opens in the back, so you don't have to go in there. But taking them outside and doing that each time, maybe not each time, but they get exposed to it pretty often. And just to have them part of that process, Ember's not even 2 yet. She's about to be 2 in June. Hawk's 3.5, and having them part of that process of, okay, this is what living really is like. Taking care of yourself, being self-sufficient. It's, we're not totally self-sufficient from the grocery store. We still get things from the grocery store, but having that sacred ceremony of producing your own food, hand to table to mouth, all just your hands. That's a sacred ceremony that we've all been a part of, and that's the oldest ceremony that we have. Other than drinking water, sitting down and eating together of food that you produce from start to finish, all the way from seed to consumption. That's a sacred ceremony that's been going on since humans took their first breath.
It is. It may be the most sacred ceremony, that connects us to Gaia, the planet, the mother. But it's incredible that your children are growing up that way. Mine did too. They knew the circle of life. They understood it intimately. And especially since you have all these indigenous practices embedded now in your life that you bring into this, the sacredness of everything, the consciousness of everything. These 2 bright little star seeds that you call your children are going to be phenomenal human beings coming up, because they understand the stewardship, the responsibility, not just what can I get out of this resource, but the stewardship of it,
Sure. And that's the real work. All this other stuff, going and blasting off with ayahuasca, or going to a 40-day retreat, or I do a cold plunge every morning.
Yes.
Grow your own food. Start there. Get your kids out and get their hands in the dirt and show them how to be self-sufficient, because the time may or may not come. But I'm just saying, if it does come, I have enough in place where I can shift and spend more time, focus more time in different areas, and we can be self-sufficient. We're not gonna
You're not going to panic like a lot of people.
My family is not going to starve, you know?
Mine won't either.
And we're going to have electricity and we're going to have lights on when the rest of the world, you know, our solar, we have everything in place. We have a well. And these are things that I knew that would come over time to get me and my family ready. And now that everything's in place, I'm like, I feel comfortable, but I'm also excited because I know that time that I've seen in my visions and messages and downloads, that time is upon us.
It's here. You know? It really is.
Because all the signs are there that everything's in place.
It really is. And I'm excited about it too. I mean, I live in the middle of a big city, but I have just enough property where I can, and I do grow a lot of our own food still. And we have a water source, and I know how to, you know, purify the water if I need to, and so forth. You know, just simple little tasks like that. And how to forage and how to provide comfort for your home. Those are simple things that we should be teaching all of our offspring and practicing all our lives, but we've become so disenfranchised from it. There are people who are starting to panic. And so I love people like you who are actually doing it and being featured on TV shows like the reality show, what is it, Homestead Makeover?
Homestead Rescue. And that was season 11, and this upcoming season that's going to be released soon, probably around the fall of this year.
Cool.
So I'll be involved in that. I think it's going to be episode 5. So they come out and did. They were doing a property, another family that was close to us, about 40 minutes away, and they called us up and asked. They wanted to see our greenhouse and how it was doing now and stuff like that. Because they wanted to do another one, like another greenhouse similar to that there.
Cool.
Anyways, so, and then they asked me to come over there and help with that one. So not only did they come there, but I went over there and worked over there for a couple days on their home, on the other family's homestead.
I love that idea. It's important that we show that we start to pass along the things that we learn with our community.
Sure. Yeah. Having them come out, it was a huge blessing, you know, like, I mean, what I'm setting in right now, this whole building I'm setting in and office I'm setting in right now is all manifestation from that show. So,
amazing.
It's just, but to go and give back to that, you know, that's what it's all about. Like, you know, helping each other out and seeing yourself. It's ultimately about seeing yourself and each other and how much do you believe the teachings that you preach, you know, how much do you believe in oneness? How much do you believe in the illusion of separateness?
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you believe in enough to go out and lend a helping hand, knowing that you're reaching out to another particle yourself?
Yeah.
Are you going to drive past it and, you know, and focus on your own stuff? There's a balance in it too. You can't, you know, you have to, that's ultimately what it's all about too. It's like, it's about balance in everything, in all aspects.
It really is. And I think you exemplify that balance in just there's seemingly two separate worlds that are absolutely not separate. They're integrated, that you live. You are a true shaman. You walk between two worlds, you know, the world of technology and marketing and, you know, being out there and all of that, teaching and guiding. And then this other role of the family man who is doing everything to help his family understand how to get back to our basics and be very connected to our planet and to help each other. It's wonderful. Having spoken about that, the psychedelic aspect of the plant teachers or the plant medicines that you work with so beautifully, that is something that I wanted to touch on is, you know, psychedelics and the evolution of human species. Could you speak a little bit about that? Because most people aren't really aware of that history, or people say it's a theory, but I know it's true.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be the basis of my presentation, the 2 p.m. presentation on Friday at the conference.
Awesome.
Coming up will be the psychedelics and their link to human evolution, which at the end of so that'll be an hour and a half. The last half hour is going to be a Q&A but I am going to be doing a live telekinesis exercise with volunteers. They're going to come up, and I'm going to show them that anyone can do it. So it's going to be fun. But it dates back all the way to Neanderthals, and a lot of us have Neanderthal DNA in us. Like, anyone that's been through 23andMe, me in particular, like I have more Neanderthal DNA than 42% of the people in that have reported Neanderthal DNA on 23andMe. So that's no, and the only reason that I even did 23andMe years ago is my adoption and trying to locate family members and things like that. But it's just interesting the things that come up, while you're searching for other things, information comes up, and later on, like it makes sense why it's there. But we, through my research and getting ready for this presentation, I come across some really interesting facts that it dates back all the way to Neanderthal days. In between 80,000 to over 100,000 years ago, there's scientific proof through studies now of Neanderthal skeletons and skeletal remains, particularly in the teeth where calcium buildup, tartar buildup behind the teeth. They were going through that and basically going through layers of that, and they can tell through that research that Neanderthal individuals, several individuals, they were finding evidence that they were using psychoactive compounds in multiple times throughout their life. So they were layered. This proof of them using compounds multiple times during finding different layers of the tartar in their teeth. They were finding that they were using psychedelic compounds multiple times throughout their life. So it just wasn't a one-time thing. See, the theory was at one time where it was a burial practice, or it was part of a death practice where they would use psychoactive compounds. But they're finding proof now that amazing fact is even expanded, where they were using it multiple times throughout their lifetime. Wow. Given the proof that was laid in their teeth remains, in their dental remains.
Wow, that's amazing. I know, earlier when we were talking about it, you said kind of like reading the rings of a tree, and you cut an ancient tree down and you can see what the actual environment was like in the geological location where that tree was. That enlightened monkey theory is no longer a theory. I mean, that's undeniable evidence, right? That's amazing.
I mean, it goes back a long time, and, history keeps getting rewritten. I brought up a theory the other day on Spaced Out Radio, which I do every Saturday and Sunday night, and you've been on there with Rob G, my partner in crime over there. But I brought up the theory the other day of what if we're starting to realize that maybe humanoids have been through cycles, and we go through cycles of remembering. Our consciousness rises. We build all these great cities. Something happens. We get reduced down to a small population, enough to continue the population going on. Everything gets covered up with sand, whether it be from storms, floods, whatever. Sure. And then we go back through the cycle again. What if we're starting just now to understand because we're finding civilizations that are buried. But if you go under those civilizations, there's proof of civilizations before it. Especially like, you're starting to find churches that have mosque underneath them, that have churches underneath the mosque, that have mosque underneath the church, and it goes down and down and down. And we're starting to figure that out. That's just because there's, the earth has chakra points, just like we have. The earth is a macrocosm of us. It has the same things we have, has chakra points, and these are the energetic points on the earth where pyramids lie and things like that. But there's also, if you look up like where these churches and great temples are, especially ones that you find other temples underneath them that are buried, those are energetic points too. Those are meridian, what we
Vortex.
consider meridian points, or things like on our bodies, we have chakra points and meridian points, meridian lines. Earth has the same thing. So
Those major ley lines go right through every one of those sectors. And even more interestingly, my friend Jimmy Blanchett, I don't know if you know who he is or not. He does incredible work in the sacred geometry of monolithic, ancient temples and stuff, or sites like Stonehenge, Giza. And what's interesting is almost all of the major ones are on the same parallel. They're on, I can't remember what, is it the 39th parallel? I can't remember, but they're all on the same latitude line going all the way around the earth, and they all connect. So it makes one wonder, is this, were those things put together as a holistic machine or an energy source, or who knows? But you can't deny those things are all in power spots, just like we have. You mentioned the major chakras and the meridian lines in the body. Same thing, as above, so below, as within, so without, right? So
yeah, it's just a pattern. Everything has that. Even our solar, go out to our solar system. What do you think the chakra points is of our solar system? The planets. Yeah. The planets are and what would be the heart chakra of our universe? The Earth is the heart chakra of our universe. So, exactly. Our solar, the Earth is the heart chakra of our solar system, which I believe our solar system is the basis of creation. Like I don't think it's young like they say it is, but all these. Now, what if? I want to take it a step farther. What if everything on Earth is covered up from civilizations past?
Oh, I'm sure.
What if our solar system, everything out there, and other solar systems? Yes. What if it's remnants of our solar system that we're seeing in the past and the future?
Yeah.
And at one point, they're going to come together, like our solar system be a basis of creation, things like that. But I think our solar system is the template of everything.
That's an awesome theory. And it doesn't, I don't even know if we need to argue it or anything. People will if you bring that up. But I think no matter where you put your push pin in, where you put your finger down on the map, that's the center of creation, because that's where your focus is. And you're going to find evidence that is the center of it, at least in that frequency or that dimension or that moment of non-local consciousness, which is forever. But I'm agreeing with you. In fact, part of what I'm doing at the expo in Delavan is I'm going to, for the very first time, do a live quantum hypnosis session. I've never done one on stage. I've never allowed anybody to be in the room during those sessions. But we're going to time travel and look at one of these sites, sacred sites, pre, during, and post construction, and see what it means and how it's relevant to the rest of the planet and our species. Don't know how it's going to turn out, but that's kind of the premise. And I find it just fascinating, because the more and more I do these types of sessions with my clients who are really brave to do that kind of stuff, we're pulling in all kinds of information that is literally paralleling what you're talking about, what the new discoveries are being made scientifically, and what ancient texts have always said, all the legends and all that. We think, people made up stories to convey ideas and all that. I don't think they're just stories. In fact, I know they're not.
A lot of it's very literal.
That's
where we're mistaken. That's what's confusing us, because we're looking at something and we're putting, they're speaking in, they're not speaking literally about it, but really, like, a lot of it's specifically exactly how it's said.
Yeah, and it does behoove us to kind of maybe explore taking those things literally for once and saying, is there validity there?
What if?
So well, go ahead.
No, what if? That's the what if. The what if is a beautiful thing that we can do right now. There's no law against saying what if.
No. And in fact, isn't that what science really is? That's what science is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's
Questioning,
it's always
you know?
if we're evolving constantly, why? I mean, to say that science is set how it is, like, okay,
Mm.
everything that's been learned about science has been learned.
No,
Oh,
come
like
on.
if we're evolving if we're evolving, everything else is like, and
Yeah.
you know, at one time science is based around a linear timeline,
Yeah.
and now we know that. I mean, there's a lot of us that know deep in our hearts that it's nonlinear. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
very there may be a pattern to it,
yeah.
but it's nonlinear, and
Even our
it's
most advanced science says that. Quantum
and
physics says that.
and there's not a whole lot of laws that dictate it. You know, there's all the laws, most of the laws that we put in place to explain science, a lot of different things are things that we put in place, are man-made things. They're from the creator.
They're man-made concepts, really, trying to explain things. But we get this egotistical kind of big head when we think we know what's what, right? And so I think that's when nature comes in and says, "Here, hold my beer. Let me show you something else." And it you said something earlier that's very important: humility. Being humble, being open, being flexible to, the universe is not rigid and it's not linear. So we must flow. We must be flexible to learning new things. And that's why, a lot of people always are saying, well, if what you're doing, in your research and everything is true, prove it, quantify it for me, qualify it for me with the metrics that we use in our science. I'm like, it doesn't apply. We're talking about using third dimensional earth science. We think we're so all that, but it's very rudimentary and clunky and has a ton of holes in it to try to measure something that is way above that in frequency that we don't have even verbiage to describe. I think
It would be like trying to walk into a college with a second grade science book, trying to take it into a master's program for biology or something like that, and be like, okay, let's use this to try to figure out what this class. And that's why there's different books for the same book is not used for second grade science, that is for college level
neuroscience.
There's different books, so
different teachers, different books, different experiences. I do want to say, to bring it back around to the psychedelics aspect, I said at the beginning of my talk, you're my shaman. You were the person who introduced me to Mother Ayahuasca, and I thought I was pretty connected to the oneness of the universe before that, but it completely changed my life. And I saw universes within universes within universes. It literally confirmed everything I knew, but expanded it in such a way about how creation is. And the places you will go, but it was such a tremendous spiritual. I'm already just the most, I'm a spiritual scientist, basically, right down the middle. This over here, but they're blended in the middle. I just, it's ineffable. I don't have words for it still. And yet it's still with me, and it keeps expanding, like the universe, like our solar system, like our galaxy. There's no words for it, but so many people are terrified to give that a look because, back when I was growing up during the hippie revolution, there was the war on drugs, and they demonized it. They made it seem like, you're going to fry your brains. You're going to be no good. It's the key to a downfall. And then, a lot of religions even say it's demonic work and all this. How do you package that in such a way that, and you do it very well, but I want people to hear it. How do you explain to people who have all of these concerns that this might be something that is just perfect for what's ailing them.
Sure. I mean, normally, like, and this is something that I kind of set up with the universe to be like, I don't want people to come to me and with the thought in the background of having me talk them into it.
Mm-hmm.
That I have asked the universe to send me people that are ready to expand. They're ready to heal. They're ready, and they're at the point of trust and surrender. I mean, because I understand it takes if I look back, especially Drew Bankey was a totally different person prior to ayahuasca. Like, you wouldn't have recognized him, how he talked, his mannerism, how he walked, how he interacted with people. None of it. You wouldn't have recognized him. Any of the values and everything. It was just a different stage in my life. I honor that stage, but I recognize it was just a turning point was ayahuasca. But looking back, and it's been so long, it's coming up on 10 years now since I first drank. Looking back and trying to put myself in that position of what it was like leading up to it. I had a lot of doubt too, but I was at the point of needing something to help to change. Like I didn't know if it was going to help me. I just heard. I had a buddy that went down to Peru, come back. He was a totally different person. That triggered me to start doing research. I spent like 2 months doing research on ayahuasca, and everything that I saw was helping veterans, and story after story after story. I mean, I was watching YouTube video after YouTube video of veterans and documentaries. Everything that was being told was this very well could help me in some way, form, or fashion. So, like I said, I didn't know about the spiritual side of it. So, but there's people that come to us that never drank it before, and this is their sole purpose, or want to drink it. They want to expand their soul self. They want to help out in their evolution and expand themselves. But the point is, I remember what it felt like going into it. So I don't push anybody. People message me and they have questions and stuff, but I will never sit there and be like, this is going to help you.
No,
it could help you if you meet it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you meet it halfway, and like with any energy, like if you meet the energy halfway, it'll work with you. But that's what ayahuasca is. Ultimately, it's energy. It's the consciousness of Gaia, of the earth, basically of the divine feminine, of the whole creation. That's what ayahuasca represents to me. But so it's a big thing to take on but I let people know that it's when they call, like, everyone, they have a ton of questions, and I can tell if someone is really going to go book it and show up and actually do the ceremony or not within talking to them about 15 minutes or so. I can just tell, like, if they're ready or not,
Yeah.
But everybody, especially right before they, when it comes time for the ceremony itself, I'm nervous. Well, everybody's nervous, and that's just your own emotions showing you and letting you know, like, your body and your soul is recognizing the magnitude of what's about to happen. That's where the nervousness and things come in. But just shortly after they take the medicine, that goes away, and especially after that first ceremony, they understand, okay, it's gonna maybe scary, but if I can give up that little bit of anxiety, the amount of bliss and peace and connection, and the list goes on and on of the benefits of these ceremonies. The benefits far outweigh the discomfort that you may face in the ceremony. How long has it been? Years since you did ceremony with me, and you're still unpacking it.
Couple years,
Same with me. I'm still unpacking my first ceremonies and all the other ceremonies I've done. I'm still unpacking them. I hope that I always will be.
Me too.
I never want to arrive.
I don't either.
I
It's
never
all about wonder.
I never want to arrive. Like I never want to have all the answers. You know, I want to keep searching. But I also want to share my experiences in hopes that other people can have their experiences. Because I can sit here and talk until I'm blue in the face. You can read my books. You can read you can read books from any person out there and go over and over this, but it only happens until you have an experience, whether it be with psychedelics or a C5 or hypnosis. You're not going to be a believer until you experience it, and then you're going to be an advocate. You know?
Yeah. Direct experience is really not just the best teacher, but I think it's really the only real teacher. And I agree with you on that. It was, and I studied for many years now alongside psychology and quantum physics and all that, neuroscience. And now we have all of this great research that's been going on the last, decade, but even way before that, it started with, Timothy Leary group and all those people and Ram Dass, how these teachers, these pieces of consciousness that we ingest through a tea or in any number of ways, literally changes the structure of your human brain and your neurological systems for the better. Like always, they are improving. It changes the neuroplasticity of the brain, which I think is why it's so amazing for people with severe PTSD, like the veterans that you work with. Which bless you for that. That's just evolutionary work itself, right there.
Yeah, and it's there was a time, there's phases of this work where you will go through, and I'm sure you've experienced it when you first start working with it. All you want to do is your first people you think of when you find anything like this that helps, whether it be a psychedelics or anything else. The first people you want to be is the people close to you. You start going through your Rolodex of family, and you start going through your circles that go out and out, further out, and you start identifying who could benefit from this, that, and the other. But those aren't the people that you have to forget about those people for a while, because the people that actually you will start to help are people way outside your circle, and sometimes not even in your circle at all, total strangers. But eventually, eventually through your own actions, people in your closer circles will start coming to you. And now I'm at the point where people that's actually been deployed with on the ground, sleeping, in cots 16 inches away from each other for months on end. Those are the guys that are coming back to me now and being like, look, I didn't believe you at first, but this been going on for years now. And, I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to do that. And it's a blessing, and also family, all the way, all the way into, my children asking for advice on things like that,
That's amazing. I love it so much. It comes full circle. And I love your style and kind of your basis of action there, where it's let them come to you. I can remember
you can't chase people down with a cup of ayahuasca,
No. And that turns into, evangelism, which is something that really doesn't ever really work. That's ego trying to force someone to see your own way. They have to come to you. And so I love that gentle approach that you have. I wanted to get into something really cool that I've heard you speak about personally, and then on lots of other shows, mine included. But I want to talk about the juxtaposition of interdimensional beings or consciousness and the ceremonies. Did you ever have, just so the audience know, have you ever had interactions with other types of beings during your ceremonies?
Yeah, in particular, one that I believe you're probably referring to. And by the way, I just got off the phone with MUFON. I reported one of my face-to-face encounters, the one near the one after Chaco Canyon incident. I just reported that to MUFON. So
that one's a big one.
It's a good one. It's a good one because I wanted And I explained to the guy, like, I've talked about it many times, but I want MUFON to have it so they can have that information to start putting together, like, because I know it ties into Chris Bledsoe's thing now.
It really does.
But anyways, that's a whole nother conversation. That's interesting. My birthday is, so I know you know Chris. I know you know a lot that he's been talking about. My birthday next year, it falls on Easter.
Oh my goodness.
So anyways,
I've got chills. And Chris is going to be at this expo too, helping, co-leading the Sky Watches with Kimberly Porth, and Lord only knows what all of us together are going to manifest. It's
going to be a good one. I reached out to him, asked him what 40 is, if 46 means anything to him, because that's what I've turned 46 next year on Easter, and I know he has some information about Egypt, something that'll be happening on Easter next year. But anyways,
I think when we look at numerology, 46, it's 4 plus 6 equals 10. You reduce it down, it's 1. It's about oneness. Dude, I'm sorry, it just came out.
No, I told Ella, I was like, if we're not in Egypt next year on my birthday, I'll be really surprised. But anyways, so this happened. The incident that you're talking about happened in Crestone. It was during a ceremony with 5-MeO, but it was through a medicine called Yopo. So 5-MeO, one of the famous carriers of 5-MeO now is Bufo. Bufo varius, which is the Sonoran desert toad, and that is the most well-known 5-MeO right now. But 5-MeO is found in many other things, just like 4-N-dimethyltryptamine is found throughout nature in many different things like mimosa, chacruna, in our brains, our brains and bodies, and it stores in our brains, bodies, lungs, gets released at the time of death. That's 4-N-dimethyltryptamine. So 5-MeO dimethyltryptamine is another molecule, and they call it the God molecule. And but that's also found in this bean, this little bean type of thing called Yopo. So you dry that out and crush it, and it gets blown up your nose, much like hape or rape gets blown up your nose. It's the same type of thing where they blow it up your nose, but just lots of times there'd be like double barrel, so it blow up both nostrils at the same time. So it gets shot up, and the onset is immediate. You start to feel the effects of that immediately. But in this particular ceremony, after the medicine was administered to me, my body started to vibrate, and within it seemed like a second or two, my body vibrated to a point where I was in a silence. I vibrated past a point of like anxiety, and I broke through, and it was just silence and just peace and calm. And I wasn't feeling the vibration anymore, but I was still in the room. So it was done in a room with other people. I was there with a teacher of mine. And so I was sitting behind the altar. He was leading the ceremony, and I look over at him. I'm still there. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe I need some more medicine, but he's like smiling at me. So he kind of like knows where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I look over at the corner of the room, the lights are on and everything, but I see this glowing. It's like, it looks like a light from a cell phone. And that's kind of what I thought it was at first. I thought someone had a cell phone and their light was on, and it was on over the corner of the room, way in the corner. And it was just right along the floor. And as I looked at the light started getting bigger, and then I seen it was like a doorway opening. And the first thing I seen was 3 fingers come out from a hand, like reach out, and they were gray and like long. And it was like a 3-fingered hand that reached out, and it like a gray alien come through that hole as it was opening up. It was like it couldn't wait for it open up all the way. It just kind of like crawled through, and it kept opening up, and another one another one through. So three grays come into the room, and they started walking around the room, and I could see them holding their hands over different people, and I could see energy coming out of their hands. and then they would hold their other hand up, and then energy would come out of that person into this hand. They were like transmuting. I could see them like transmuting it.
Wow.
And I'm watching them. I'm like, man, can they see me? Like, cause I'm staring dead at them. And when I'm looking and they motioned towards me, I could hear them speaking to me, like, come here. Like, cause I started speaking telepathically. I could hear them speaking to me and try and initiate contact. And so I start speaking to them back, like, show me what you're doing. Like, this is amazing. Like, what are you doing? And they're like, there is no bad aliens. Like, we've got a bad name. Like, cause my first thought was like, oh my God, these are grays. Like, what are they doing? They're coming in to like abduct someone or whatever. They're like, it's all your human construct that we're evil at all. Like, all of us are higher vibrational beings. Like, and there's basically walking me around and showing me how to basically go into a center place, a heartfelt place, and try to connect with each person as I walk up to them and recognize that that's a part of me. And so they were teaching me how to heal with my hands, that further let me understand the importance of your meridian points, meridian lines, chakra system. So I was feeling energy come through my crown chakra, go out my root chakra, and go through my meridian lines, go through my hands. So I understood really what Reiki was in a way, or how Jesus healed with his hands, like all that. Like I started to really understand that walking around with the grays. And there was about 20 people in the ceremony. Well, Ella was in that ceremony at that time too. And the weeks leading up to that ceremony, she was having a lot of cramps, female problems, and not like real serious, but they were there,
Right.
And in this ceremony, like as I was starting to get done, I was starting to identify back with Drew again, and being back in the room a lot, being with what was going on there a lot more, my physical self. And I saw Ella there. I was like, why won't you let me heal my wife? And they're like, there's no reason you can't. Like, you are the one making these boundaries on healing anybody. You can heal anybody. And I started to weep, and I was like, well, how am I supposed to heal my wife's problems? What's going on? Like, why she's going through this pain, and you're showing me how to help all these people with just my energy. Like, help me help her. And so I started to cry a little bit, and one of the grays took my hand and they rubbed that tear, and they put it on I had it on my finger, and they rubbed it around her navel in a clockwise around her navel. And so, to back up a little bit, my stepdaughter Alyssa, she's 19, about to be 20 this year. No, about to be 21 this year.
21.
She's in college, and after she was born, my Ella wasn't supposed to be able to have children. She went through complications having Alyssa. So Hawk and Ember is here now. After all that, and the pain went away. She didn't have any, after that, she didn't have cramps or anything after that. But yeah, I fully give credit to the Grays for my two youngest children, Ember and Hawk, because I'm fully convinced they wouldn't be here without that interference, that they did, helping me, heal my wife.
Amazing. I've heard that story so many times, and I cry every time you tell it, because I don't know, maybe because I'm a woman and I know what that feels like to want a child, or to be suffering with that. And I feel very close to Ella too. I just, both of you are just like brother and sister to me. But to imagine you being there and wanting to help your wife so badly, that yearning is so strong, and that they came through and showed you how to do that. It's amazing. I mean, the Star Teachers did the same with me and gave me all kinds of new healing modalities and things. They continue to do. And you just, it blows you away every time. You're like, these beings are not despicable. They're not, they come out of a space of love to help, right? They say they're not going to do the homework for us, but they're giving us modalities basically to help. I think that's, we go back to Chris Bledsoe. That's the thing too. There's healing that happens when people are with him. And he'll be the first to say, I'm really not the person, I'm not doing anything. I'm just it's kind of like you're the focal point, right? You're channeling it. You're honing it into a place. It's like laser surgery almost, isn't it? With the energy. And I'm just so grateful that happened to you guys. You've got two of the most bright, beautiful little children I've ever seen. They're so cute. Yeah. But your whole family, it's just this happiness, right?
Hawk tries to take them out, and now it's dark, when we're putting animals to bed and giving their last feeding in the night, closing up the chicken coop and all that. So he'll go out with me lots of times, and he'll be looking up at the stars and the moon and stuff, and he'll be jumping. He'll be like, I can't reach. He'll be trying to jump at it. And I said, just keep jumping, eventually you'll be able to
reach him.
Eventually you'll be able to reach him. But he's starting to talk about memories. So it's interesting that things that are starting to come up about, because I asked him about the day he come, like when he was born. Because on the way to the hospital, me and Ella had a sighting. Whether it was a meteor or a UFO, whatever it was something that was changing color, traveling horizontal with the ground, couple thousand feet off the ground, and it was going for long enough for Ella to see it in between contractions on the way to the hospital. So, and it was going in the same direction as the hospital. So,
man.
And Ember, she just emulates her name, Ember Elamina, the Ember to illuminate. She just totally embodies her name. She's such a bright. She's such a bright, just personality. And that, coming up on 2 years old, her personality is starting to come out more and more. She's goofy. She's funny. She's super smart. She knows all her colors already. And
wow,
yeah, I'm really blessed. My oldest just moved to Chicago with her boyfriend, and my son's about to graduate. Alyssa's in college. She's figured out that she might be able to get her master's through my VA benefits and everything. She gets VA benefits and gets a lot of benefits for that. So she might be able to even get her master's because she's doing a lot of. I think she's this last semester she had 18 hours this last semester. So
tough load, man.
Yeah.
It's a credit to who you are as a father, how these children are coming up. And before I say anything else, thank you for your service. I don't know that I've ever said that before. I know it was really tough on you, but it was something I guess you had to go through to be who you are today. I mean, how do you go from being in the womb of combat, terrible combat, to coming through all that and then being this really gentle but charismatic spiritual teacher and guide? It blows me away that you've done so much work, Drew, and so I thank you for the military service. No matter what the politics were and all that, it was that heart that wanted to help, right? And that's led you through all of these different aspects of your life since then. It's still the heart that wants to help. So
I believe there's a lot of veterans that are being called to the spiritual movement, whether it be, that I'm not the only founder of a psychedelic church in the States that is headed up by a veteran, and there's a lot of us out there, and more that are coming on. People are opening up iboga treatment centers in Iboga/5-MeO Bufo retreat centers in Mexico, doing a lot of profound work with the Special Forces community and other combat vets. So I'm not the only one, but one thing that I'm starting to figure out, like for me, like when I was when the universe in that third ceremony, when ayahuasca showed me like why I was supposed to be here, I realized that my call to service, the same call to service that raised my hand when I was a police officer, the same call to service that raised my hand when in 1999 when I signed up and took my first pledge for the United States Army. That call, that the reason why I did that, I had a deep calling of like serving a higher purpose,
Yes.
serving my fellow man. I knew there was something bigger than me that needed me to be part of it to move forward. I misconstrued it, misunderstood what that calling was. Because I put boundaries on it. I put 3D boundaries on it. So that's why it was military and police. And then when I was able to take those boundaries off, then I was able to really see why I was supposed to be here. I'm a messenger for Source, and I'm not the only one, but I am one of them.
Well, and I agree wholeheartedly. I also think you had to go through those stages so that you could literally empathize with the people who are coming to you now, who, are just kind of climbing out of those places of stored trauma. You go into great service like that in the military or in the police force or whatever, they just accumulate trauma.
The way because I asked this question, I was like, early on, arguments with ayahuasca, arguments with the spirits. I'm like, no, you got the wrong one. Things that I've done in Iraq and the mind, especially the mindset I had in Iraq, you don't know where my mind was. Like I was ready to wipe everything off the face of the earth because I believed in the movement to that extent, and to the point of giving my life. But the spirits explain this to me. You have to have seen the energy at its worst on one end of the spectrum, because you're gonna turn that energy around, and the other end of the spectrum is healing people and basically bringing people back to life. I don't think that, or maybe I will. Maybe there'll be a time when I will bring someone back to life, like literally. But I have given people back. I've given hundreds of people back their lives, in a very deep way. And that same energy that's able to take that and destroy that, it's the same energy that's used to manifest that and heal that.
It is. It's all coming from the same point of power, basically. And I think that exists within each of our hearts. And that's why I think heart coherence is so important when we do these things, especially in groups, which I'm so excited about when we do the expo. I'm very excited for people to hear your presentation about this, but then to have these demonstrative experiences that you're going to be giving and pulling these people in and inviting them to try this. And can you just really quickly tell them what the hape or rape is the real name, right, of the experience?
Well, it's both. It's rape and hape. It's spelled both ways. The reason rape is not spelled because RAPE with I don't know whatever that semicolon or whatever it is on top of it, but so it's pronounced rape. But hape, rape, they're both correct terminology. But so that meditation, it's basically going to consist in what this medicine is. It's tree root, ash, and tobacco that's ground up and prayed over. So there's a lot of alchemy in it, but basically it's tobacco. There's no real psychoactive compounds. So there's no.
And it's untreated. It's natural tobacco, not
it's natural tobacco. Comes from South America. It's all processed in South America. It's not even processed here. But it's from the medicine I'll be sharing at the expo is hummingbird medicine from the Yawanawa tribe, and very sacred, very very good. But it will be our blow a small amount, especially for this setting. Our blow a very small amount in each nostril, and it will basically raise your vibration. And during that, I'll be having music playing in the background, and it'll be a meditation. Once I get everybody served, I'll play some flute music and say a few prayers, but that will be the basic meditation of the hape. And you may I have tissue there for people to blow their nose, and maybe some cups or something for people to spit into. But yeah, I'll get in, I'll explain a lot more there. But it is a ceremony that is done by itself in meditation, but it's also paired with ayahuasca. So if you do a traditional ayahuasca ceremony in South America, chances are you will experience hape or rape as the first ceremony going into the ayahuasca. So it's normally done in conjunction, and it's always done before. So the tobacco spirit, and this holds true in South American and North American Native American practices, the tobacco spirit is a door gatekeeper for these master teachers, i.e. ayahuasca, peyote, San Pedro, 5-MeO.
Right, like it's like an escort, isn't it, for that teacher? Or
yes, it's also, it brings you into the moment, and allows, lets you forget about, who cut you off in traffic on the way to the ceremony, or what you have to do afterwards. It really brings you into the here and now, which is one of the most important aspects of any psychedelic or meditation, is being in the moment. So
perfect. I seem to remember when I had my first experience with it, with you and Ella was serving, and I think it was the hummingbird medicine that I had. It was gentle, it was beautiful. It was the perfect thing to just get me right there in the moment before we drank and partook of Mother Ayahuasca. And I remember Ella even saying it helps the immune system. Even, everybody's traveling at that time. People were getting COVID all over the place, and if I remember right, she said, you guys didn't have it because we're always, pairing with this teacher. So it'll be interesting to see you do this in a conference setting. It'll be awesome. And I have to tell people, the music, the using of the voice, and the indigenous instruments that you use in your ceremonies, it's just the most transcending thing. It's just part of the whole energy. It's beautiful. So I really encourage people to come and experience you in all the ways that you're going to be there.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to chatting with anyone coming. If you got one of my books, bring them. I'm happy to sign them and all that. I'm not going to have physical copies there, but they're both on Amazon. So if you're coming to the conference, get my books and bring them with you, and I'll be happy to sign them. You got time, there's time to get them in your hands. So they're both available on Amazon at the drop of a hat. And other than that, I'll be in Joshua Tree the weekend before that. So I'm holding a retreat there with 5-MeO, Bufo the weekend before that at our place that we've been working out of there. Beautiful setting. It's just a beautiful mansion that we work out of. It's got a hot tub, heated pool, and it's just a beautiful spot that we have. So you'll be spoiled and taken care of. If you're interested in that, reach out to me in any of my sources, or sacredjournieswithin.com, or sacredjournieswithin@gmail.com is my email, and or reach out through the website or my socials if you're interested in that. If not, I'll see you in Wisconsin, or if not, I'll see you next time I'm on one of these podcasts.
Yeah. Well, and we'll link all of your contact stuff, of course, to this and in the announcements, because we really want people to reach out to you and make these great reservations. I can't recommend it enough, you guys. Whatever experience you have with Drew, it's going to be mind altering and life altering. So I just have one final question for you, Drew.
Sure.
Usually I ask my guests, do you have a message for the world? But I think I want to ask you, what's the most powerful lesson that you have received from the earth, or from the beings, or from the medicine?
Oh, I would have to say the release of the fear of death. That was one of the biggest gifts of, and with that release of the fear of death and understanding of knowing that this consciousness, like this Drew that you hear, you may not be able to see Drew, 90 years from now, but that Drew that you hear is always going to be there, and it's knowing that you can build on, like my mindset now, I'm building on not only this lifetime, but the next lifetime. I know that any work that I do now is going to be reflected in the next, whatever space I'm in, whether it be human, non-human, a turtle, a rock, whatever, or gray, whatever it is.
Cumulative, right? It just keeps.
I know it's, and hopefully I will be able to, my memory won't ever be taken from me again. So, but having that fear of death is gone, and I realized that a lot of my other fears were a subset of the fear of death. So, yeah,
I think all fears really are, when you come right down to it. I think that's just the basis of all human fears. Well, Drew, thank you so much. I could talk to you for hours and hours about this, because I just eat it up. It's just, you're an amazing teacher, a wonderful ally, and a great friend. But I encourage everybody to reach out to Drew. You'll see all of his contact in the description of this particular podcast and in all the announcements. Come see us at the Contact Modalities Expo in Delavan, Wisconsin, if you're hearing this before May 2nd through the 4th, 2025. Otherwise, just reach out and you'll find out where Drew is and be able to work with him. You will not be sad that you did. Drew Bankey, thank you so much, my dearest brother, and it's been such an honor. Thank you for being one of the amazing hidden variables that help our planet, help our species, and help the cosmos, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, I can't wait to hang out. See you soon.
All right. In Lakesh, I'm another you.